Hello, good evening, or good day, where are you? Now, welcome to Hades Corner Friday Facts on this very fine Friday. As you can see, there's a little change in the lower banner, no longer going on. I made a new one. So, just first off, welcome to my channel. It's me, Heidi. Links can be found in the description box down below. Please like and subscribe. As previously, 60 plus percent. I checked earlier today, this afternoon, 69% of you viewers are not subscribed, and you should do it right now. While you watch this live stream, there's a subscribe button and the notification bell. Just tickle it, to get all the notifications for you. So the topic for tonight is gender dysphoria. What is gender dysphoria? First off, I think we need to define what gender is. According to the American Psychologist Journal, edition 70, pages 832 to 864 from 2015. This magazine or journal defines gender identity as follows: a person's deeply felt inherent sense of being a boy, a man, or a male, a girl, a woman, or a female, or an alternative gender, for example, genderqueer, gender non-conforming, gender neutral, that may or may not correspond to the person's sex assigned at birth or person's primary or secondary characteristics. This is how the American Psychologist Journal, edition 70 from 2015. But first, I almost forgot to introduce my co-host here in the studio, live studio from Hades Corner is Stefan. There you go. That's Stefan. And my regular co-host, Bertil. Stefan is a hedgehog who lives in a bucket. Bertil is our resident Moomin forefather. They are here tonight in my studio. So, what am I really talking about? Gender is the inherent, deeply felt sense of one's gender: boy, man, male, woman, female, non-conforming. You have it. But what is gender dysphoria? According to the DSM-5, Diagnostic and Statistics Manual, defined gender dysphoria as distress is gender as follows. Gender dysphoria is the distress a person feels due to mismatch between their gender identity and sex assigned at birth, and this was in the DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual 5 used in primarily in the US. I've talked about what being transgender is on my channel previously. I've had several guests with me on this journey to talk about what I had Bob the Science Guy talk about internal medicine and stuff, etc. And I also had I'll bring it. I've had live streams with regards to I've had yes, transgender. What is it? I've had it March 19th. Only 12 views. Hey, come on, people. And then I've had gender dysphoria and autism spectrum disorder, or ASD. This study here, I went through the Nature Communications magazine, etc. These studies show that there is a 3 to 6 times more people on the autism spectrum are 3 times more likely to have gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is basically it's the mismatch between the sex assigned at birth and the gender identity. But what does it mean in practice? Okay, before I go, I'll take one comment from Coley Orton. Sorry if I butcher that name, but what do you think when people claim it's a mental illness and that people need mental help, not encouragement in their quote-unquote delusions? What I know a person from who's quite closely related. He tends to be quite judgmental, and one of these people that thinks there's sort of a mental need of mental assistance, or counseling, psychiatrist or something. What I really first thought, if someone says that kind of fabulous shit, my first thought is like, you gotta get your head right. These people are just wrong. What they do not understand what they're talking about. It's based on pure ignorance. If they were a bit more educated on the subject, or bother to say read up on the subject, they'd know what they're talking about. They are just, I think these people are ignorant more than anything. Ignorant, and they're the ones who should get help. I don't mean that they need to go to therapy or something like that, but they need help to understand this. They need to understand this what they are up against. Really, it's not one being against the other, but it's that they should understand what they are criticizing. Because I've noticed that quite often these people don't really know what they're talking about, So they need to educate themselves, and I've told people who are somewhat ignorant and say stuff like this to educate themselves. That's what I think. I hope that Coley Orton. I hope that answered your question at least to some degree. I hope. Just give me a comment. I'm glad that uh, answered your question. Anyway, if those watching, if you have any questions that you have now, or questions that may or may not arise during this stream, please ask them in the chat. I'll take up the questions on the screen, or yeah, I'll take them up on the screen and answer them the the best I can. So back onwards in the subject. So people the people that experience gender dysphoria, like myself, often transgender. Transgender means that the person uh, feels they belong to the opposite sex than what they were assigned to at birth. And I'm one of those. I've transitioned uh, from male to female. Uh, the causes, we don't really know what no one really knows what the root cause of this, what really causes this, but it uh, like some say it some science says that it reflects cultural factors. There are um, the concept of third third gender, which may or may not. For example, the Thai the in Thailand and India, they have the Kathoi and Hijra, respectively. Uh, some Many of them experience gender dysphoria. Some don't. Um, some say it's environmental, perhaps genetic or biology, genetics and or biology. It's the biology in when it comes to gender and biological sex is rather complicated. Is far from easy, or simple to say the least. There's the I had a good chat with Bob the Science Guy a few months back on this. It's worth checking out. And it what's then what would we expect to be done to gender dysphoria? Um, there are, of course, the one big thing that this includes, but is not limited to, hormones, surgical procedures like mastectomy, gender reassignment surgery, uh, and then hormones, for example, anti-androgens for and estrogen for trans feminines or trans women, then androgens, i.e., testosterone for trans masculines, and it, if untreated, if if left untreated, the gender dysphoria can cause depression, anxiety, um, social isolation. Social isolation. Why? Why, you may ask? Um, it's because simply due to the fact that that people with gender dysphoria are so uncomfortable um, in their shall I say physical their birth gender, or the original configuration of their body pre and post puberty, is that they are so uncomfortable that they don't want to go anywhere to show themselves to people as what they in the body that they feel so uncomfortable in. Um, it's of course in some cases of course this might all this anxiety and depression, discomfort, uh, social pressure, discrimination, all this can add up uh, to 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 the point that people become suicide. People with gender dysphoria become suicidal, and this then again causes another issue. Um if and now and I should mention, now that I mentioned these mental health issues, if for my streams, for it I might mention mental health issues, depression, suicide, etc. So if you are sensitive to these topics, I mention them before I delve into the subject, but this time I didn't, unfortunately. But some there are this to get in many countries to get these treatments to alleviate gender dysphoria, hormones, counseling, surgical procedures, etc. You need to have a mental health diagnosis. I did discuss this pathologication of gender dysphoria and being transgender. I had a chat with trans atheist some time ago, and for example, in 20 something, 21, 26 countries in Europe require mental health diagnosis to get these gender affirming treatments and the legal gender recognition, unfortunately. And it does medicalize the issue, and in some ways, for example, where I live in Finland, it's always either or, male, female, in legal sense, but it's the binary. Unfortunately, I mentioned the gender non-conforming and non-binary people who also experience gender dysphoria, and they often need to sort of hide the fact that they are non-binary and go into the mode of the opposite binary gender, to that the opposite binary gender sex mode of or gender mode, than in comparison to their um, birth, the sex assigned at birth, to get the treatments in order to get the treatments to transition as much as they need to get to, for example, feminizing treatments for those assigned male at birth. And it's and this also occurs, of course, this also occurs in children and adolescents, which is, then again, I've discussed this on my channel previously. For example, in the UK, they banned the puberty blockers from trans kids due to some hitherto unknown reasons, and it can be harmful. But it comes eventually. But even for children and adults and adolescents, it comes from the incongruence between the person's felt gender and the gender assigned, the sex assigned at birth. Sorry, and there are two. There are two broad trajectories when it comes to gender dysphoria. There's early onset that typically starts to manifest in childhood, and then there's this late onset is that the which is becomes apparent or more visible in adulthood, and they doesn't typically include visible signs in childhood, which early onset, as the name implies, has visible signs in early childhood. But then again, there are those who report wishes of being the opposite sex in childhood, but which they didn't report to others, adults, say parents, school staff, friends, coaches in hobbies, say football or soccer for Americans. But they just had these feelings of wanting to be the opposite sex. I had that. I fall into the category of late onset dysphoria, but however, I did have these wishes of being the opposite sex and wondering how that would happen. And as for the late onsets, gender dysphoria, trans feminines tend to be towards the they're amongst trans women. There's a bigger statistical probability of a trans woman being lesbian than straight or gay. Than straight or something else, and may and hence identify as lesbian. And this is the case for me. I'm a trans woman. I'm attracted to women. I identify as lesbian, and I know many other trans. I've met several other trans women who do feel the same way. So those assigned female, well, at least what I could gather, or those assigned female at birth, the early set gender dysphoria is the most common course of events as I gather it. And often, so these, hence, these those assigned female at birth, but then experience gender dysphoria, often transition to or come out as trans man or trans male, and as I understand it, also typically attracted to women. And trans women and trans men, therefore attracted to men, and hence and those that would make them, if a trans guy or assigned female at birth transitions to male, hence they're straight, and some those that, well, those who experience early onset gender dysphoria are typically or more often attracted to women, and those with late onset gender dysphoria, they are often attracted to men and identify as a gay man. Does gender dysphoria also go hand in hand with being homosexual? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's not always. That is not always the case, but there is a statistical, especially when it comes to trans women and trans feminines, there is a statistical correlation between trans women being more like that. Trans women are more likely to be lesbian or attracted to women and hence lesbian. But there is no direct correlation, at least what I could find. Now for this stream or prior, that I could find a linear correlation, direct causal relation between the two, but there is a tendency or statistical tendency to that direction, but it doesn't go hand in hand. It does not go hand in hand, but there is a statistical correlation. Yes, I hope that answered your question, Cole Lorton. Yes, and the early sets correlate. Early onsets of gender dysphoria, typically, as with adults, children tend to be attracted to items or toys and games, activities, clothes of the opposite sex, or the opposite opposite binary sex, and they often, as with adults, there is of course the social isolation from their peers, because they're different, adults do that as well, but children can be cruel. Children and teen and adolescents can be cruel, and that would, of course, cause cause the depression and anxiety that I mentioned earlier. And with in adolescents and adults, it's the desire to be, well, of any age, but as people get or people with gender dysphoria get older, and to be the desire increases to be of the opposite sex, and to be treated as one, a member of the opposite sex, or excuse me. Yes, sorry about that. Um, yes, you had have a comment from Cole Orton. Yeah, I heard many times from people that are trans that from people that trans people are just homosexuals that had a sex change or something similar. But that is, yeah. It now is probably the time that I have to make uh, the different to point out the distinction being the old term, or the more the old-fashioned medical term is transsexual, but this does not have anything to do with uh, sexual orientation. This is not a sexual orientation. This is gender. This is biological sex. We are not talking about a sexual orientation. We are, in this context, we are talking about um, biological sex, whether it be XX, XY, something else. It's the biological, the genetic biological sex, and then the gender as a social construct. Then the entirely different thing is the what was my thought, and the sexual orientation. Being transgender is not a sexual orientation. Therefore, uh, yeah, and you know what? There's if a trans, for example, if a trans woman like myself is attracted to women uh, prior to transition, then this trans woman would be considered straight, or appear to be straight. But if I were attracted to men prior to transition, and I transitioned to from male to female, that would make me straight. There's it the who you are attracted to doesn't change. It just the definition, the word that is used for this this way of sexual attraction, that's different. The word used for the sexual orientation just is different, but the sexual orientation as it is, like, I'm attracted to women, that has never changed. Before transitioning, I to outsiders, for those who didn't know me, I appeared to be to them. I appeared to be just another straight guy, which I wasn't. Now, people would consider me lesbian. So it's there's no really correlation, because we're talking about two different things. Gender identity, the gender, gender and biological sex, whatever that genetic sex may be for each one, and then the sexual orientation, two different things. So we trans people are not just gays who get, like, quote unquote, get a sex change or something. It's not like that. No, I hope that is a somewhat adequate or a response to this comment. If that answer satisfies you, Cole Orton, please let me know. So, unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, there is a great medicalization around gender dysphoria. In order to get the treatments, to the hormones, the surgical procedures, and such, you need to get a medical diagnosis to get these. And it's, however, because these are for there's stress, isolation, anxiety, depression, and poor self-esteem and such, are issues worth addressing. And to be able to get them addressed, you need to get a medical diagnosis to get these hormones and referrals to surgeries and stuff from a doctor, whether it be your GP, psychiatrist, or an endocrinologist, gynecologist, to get treatments that would alleviate this gender dysphoria for you, and then get your transitioned to the point that you feel comfortable with yourself or in your own skin. From Cole Orton, you said the word transsexual is an old-fashioned word. So does that mean they aren't around it anymore, or they're just called trans now? Yes. I can't remember which stream it was. I think it was way back, last year in I had the stream with Jenny Morgan. You can find it in, I think it's in season 1 playlist, I think. You can find her story where she tells how the terminology and everything in this regard has changed since the 70s in the US. But yes, transsexual, it's, yes, it's to say, almost, it's practically the same as transgender, but it back in the day it just used to refer to the transitioning from one biological sex to another, which doesn't describe the issue, the procedure as it should. But yes, transsexual transsexual is a term still used in medicine these days. For example, I transitioned in early 2010s, so it's been 10 years. On my papers from I think in 2013 in Finland and in outside the US and a few other places, I think the ICD-10 system from the World Health Organization is used. Um, in ICD-10, what transgender people typically get is F64.0 transsexual. My papers say transsexual. So, it's practically synonymous with transsexual. In practice, transsexual and transgender are synonymous, but transsexual just nowadays it's just considered outdated, and some consider it offensive. So I hope that answered your question. And I'll move it. And as for the causes, it's a field of study that is still studied these days. It's ongoing, but the specific cause for gender dysphoria is still nowadays still unknown. But the treatments targeting the etiology or pathology or pathogenesis just don't exist, and there have been studies on twins over the years, and those twin. When I say in this context, when I say twins, I mean identical twins. These evidence from these studies with identical twins have in the up until now suggested that there are genetic factors in behind the causes of gender dysphoria, and it reflects some in many ways the interplay of cultural, environmental, biological, social factors, and it's still not known exactly, even though it's been studied for decades. So from I mentioned the ICD-10. The ICD-11 is supposed to be to be implemented as of the end of 2022, I think. So for now, we're going with this ICD-10, and it's still an illness in the ICD-10, as well as the Diagnostic and Statistics Manual. That number is 5 at the moment. Just correct me if I'm wrong. And in the ICD-10, I just happened to translate the word just transsexual from my native language, but now that I have it up, it says the F64.0 that I got is in English is transsexualism. Yeah, but there have been certain changes in the clinics treating trans people in Finland that I've heard at some point. I heard that that the paperwork don't say transsexualism anymore, but it says transgender. Then there is in the ICD-10 there are several disorders. In addition to transsexualism, there is gender identity disorder of childhood, other gender identity disorders, gender identity disorder unspecified, and sexual maturation disorder, which is the category for gender identity disorders and transsexualism is F64 point something, and the sexual maturation disorder is F66. So, which is uncertainty about one's gender identity or orientation, causing anxiety and distress. So it's not the medicalization of gender dysphoria is complex. It's not that easy. So please, my viewers, do ask. Cole Orton has already asked his questions. Some questions of course, I welcome much more from you, Cole Orton, and others watching live. Of course, after the stream, comments are welcome under the video. Comments, likes, dislikes. I don't care if it's thumbs up or thumbs down. Hey, the algorithm likes it. I highly suggest that you check the description box on YouTube, and I'm streaming to Facebook as well. There are links there. The same description text is there on Facebook as well. There are links to my Facebook page. There's a link to my playlists. There's a link to my streaming schedule. There's a link to the streaming schedule, which is Monday news on Monday, every Monday at 11 p.m. 9 p.m. UK time, 11 p.m. Finnish time, my time. And Friday Facts, like today, at 11 p.m. Finnish time and 9 p.m. UK time. And these Monday news, which is the season 2 on my channel, and then Friday Facts is a separate series of shows. And the season 1 with with many wonderful guests. I have three Friday Facts, Monday News, and season 1 playlists, which can be found. The links are below in the description box. There are links to my Discord servers. There, I have two Discord servers. I have Hades Corner, which is my channel server, which has all kinds of nice stuff, pictures, memes, it's culture, etc. Pictures and art, fun discussion. And then there is LGBT plus safe space server as well. That stream. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I'm tired. That server is a server that I set up some months ago, that to serve as the name says, as a safe space for all LGBT plus people on Discord, and people who wish to join using Discord. I highly recommend really highly recommend using or joining these servers. Wonderful people there, especially on the LGBT plus server. We've had members have lengthy discussions about photography and art and photography, and the technique and technology that goes into photography. It's wonderful. And then we have, these will of course get the notifications from these servers will both get the notifications of my post when I go live. They'll get notifications from but when I set up the stream for YouTube, which I typically aim to do the day before the stream. Just so you know, I usually do that the day prior. So, and when I go live, there's you'll be informed of the Twitch going live as well, which is how I want it to be. And if you want, if you wish to join the servers, and especially the LGBT plus server, not so much for my server, but my channel server, but the LGBT plus server, and you want to get notifications of your YouTube channel when you post stuff, or Twitch when you go live, we can have a discussion and see how it goes, what we can do. But I truly hope you will join both of my servers. But do you have? I hope you have questions from Colorton, perhaps, if you're still watching. I'd love to get another question for you. Another question for you there. Regarding this subject, if you wish, and you're still watching. Okay. While I'm still hoping for a message or two from Cole Orton or someone else, I to address the Monday news episode for next Monday, the Monday the 12th, Monday April 12th. I won't be able to do a live stream that day, but I will. However, I've recorded a video for that Monday news episode for coming Monday, the 12th of April. There's a video ready, just rendered. I had some tweaking to do with the original recording. So I will schedule that will be up as at the normal time I usually post my streams or stream. That video will come up on Monday, next Monday the 12th at 9 p.m. UK time, 11 p.m. Finnish time. And those living in other time zones, I must ask you to do your own math, but on that with regards to at what time that is. Okay, this is time. Now it's time for me to end the stream, and please like and subscribe, and I will see you on next time on Monday.